Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for viewing this video. Before we get started with discussing the contents of the video, I wanted to introduce my nonprofit, the Accelerated Training Program. Our vision is twofold. First, we want to expose all marginalized groups to cybersecurity education, as well as removing the systemic exclusion of cybersecurity education to marginalized groups. Our website is www.t-atp.org. And if you would like to partner or want to learn more, please visit our contact page where you can fill out your name, your email, and a message, and we will get back to you. And again, thank you so much for viewing the contents of this video. Please check out the nonprofit when you have a moment, and let's get to the video. Hello, everyone, and welcome to day 22 Attack Surface Reduction. Threats are failing all around me. Okay, we're 3 days away from Christmas. McSkitty wants to improve the security posture of Santa's network by learning from the recent attempts to disrupt Christmas. As a first step, she plans to implement low effort, high value changes that improve the security posture significantly. Okay, so things we're going to learn. To help with her improvements, we're going to learn what an attack vector is, the concept of an attack vector, and practical examples of attack surface reduction that we can use to strengthen Santa's network. Let's get started. So, what's an attack vector? An attack vector is a tool, technique, or method used to attack a computer system or network. If we map the attack vectors to the physical world, attack vectors would be the weapons an adversary use, like swords, arrows, hammers, etc. A non exhaustive list of examples in cybersecurity include the following: phishing emails, denial of service, web drive by attacks, and unpatched vulnerability exploitation. Okay, so I'm going to talk about a few. Denial of service, sending so many requests to a website or web application that it reaches its limit and can no longer serve legitimate requests. So, in the CIA triad, confidentiality, integrity, and availability, this will fall on the availability side of the house, meaning you send so many requests, the website goes down, which means it's not available to even to legitimate users. Web drive-by attacks, flaws in web browsers that compromise the security of the victim by merely visiting a website, and that's why web is life. And unpatched vulnerability exploitation, a flaw in the internet-facing infrastructure, such as the web server or the network interface, that is exploited to take control of the infrastructure. So, attack surface. This is the surface area of the victim of an attack that can be impacted by an attack vector and cause damage. Taking forward our example of the physical world, the attack surface will include the unarmored body of a soldier, which an attack of a sword, an arrow, or a hammer can damage. In cybersecurity, the attack surface will generally contain the following: an email server that is used for sending and receiving emails, an internet facing web server that serves a website to visitors, end user machines that people use to connect to the network. Humans can be manipulated and tricked into giving control of the network to an attacker through social engineering. Oh, that's kind of cute. The little soldier. And my son says hello. My furry son says hello. You might hear him in the background. He says hi. Okay. Okay, so attack surface reduction. The attack surface cannot be eliminated short of running away from the battlefield. It can only be reduced. The Greek phalanx is an example of attack surface reduction, as seen in the picture. In the picture, the front of the defending army is covered by their shields, whereas the walls of a pass cover the sides, leaving no room for an attacker to inflict damage on the defenders without running into their defenses. This is how the Spartan army could hold back a much larger Persian army for several days in the battle. Okay, so we see that here. Okay, however, this attack surface reduction works for the weapons of that time. This technique would not impact the attack surface against modern weapons. In cybersecurity, the most secure computer is the one that is shut down and its cables are removed. However, that is not feasible for running critical operations depending on computers. Therefore, cybersecurity leaders aim to keep the operations running with the lowest possible attack surface. We could consider the goal as creating the digital equivalent of the Greek. Okay, so examples of attack surface reduction. Okay, so now that we understand the concepts, let's put it for McSkitty. Close the ranks. Santa's website was defaced earlier. When investigating that attack, McSkitty found that an SSH port, which is port 22, was open on the server hosting the website. This led to the attacker using that open port to gain entry. McSkitty has closed the entry. Close the port, excuse me. Put up the shields. Although the open SSH port was protected by a password, the password was not strong enough to resist a brute forcing attempt. McSkitty implemented a stronger password policy to make brute forcing difficult. Moreover, a timeout will lock a user out after 5 incorrect password attempts, making brute force attacks more expensive and less feasible. Control the flow of information. McSkitty was informed by her team about the GitHub repository that contains sensitive information, including some credentials. This information could be an attack vector to target Santa's infrastructure. This information was made private to block this attack vector. Moreover, best practices were established to ensure credentials and other sensitive information were not committed to GitHub repositories. You will be surprised how much sensitive information is committed to GitHub repositories that are public. Okay, beware of deception. Another attack vector used to introduce into Santa's network was phishing emails. McSkitty identified that no phishing protection was enabled, which led to all such emails landing in the inbox of Santa's employees. McSkitty enabled phishing protection on Santa's email servers to filter out spoofed and phishing emails. All emails identified as phishing or spoofed were dropped and didn't reach the inbox of Santa's employees. Okay, the phishing email that targeted Santa's employees contained a document containing malicious macros. To mitigate the risk of malicious macro-based documents compromising Santa's infrastructure, McSkitty disabled macros on end-user machines used by Santa's employees to avoid malicious macro-based attacks. McSkitty wanted the attack surface reduced from every endpoint's point of view. So far, she had taken steps to strengthen the network as a whole. For strengthening each endpoint, she took help from the Microsoft's attack surface reduction rules. Through these rules were built into the Microsoft Defender for endpoint protection. She took help from these rules and created a similar set of rules for her own EDR platform. Okay, to further strengthen the infrastructure, McSkitty carried out a vulnerability scan highlighting some vulnerabilities in the internet-facing infrastructure. McSkitty patched these vulnerabilities found on Santa's internet-facing infrastructure to avoid exploitation. After implementing these steps, McSkitty was a little relieved. However, she understood that though her attack surface was reduced, she still needed to be vigilant to avoid any incidents. Let's come back tomorrow and see if we could take other steps to help her with her defenses. Okay, so we need to go to this site. Okay. And we need to protect. It's time. Oh, that's the Band-Aid Yeti. Oh, okay. Okay, let's go. Let's go. It's time to save Elf McSkitty from the Band-Aid Yeti. Okay, correct answers were Ash Shields. Okay. No, only we could save her. Okay, we got this. Uh so Bandit Yeti has identified an open SSH port on Santa's web server. Okay, so this is unnecessary. Ports are closed to avoid attack attempts. A malicious file with a document with malicious macros is opened by a user. Ah, okay. Okay, security policies are implemented to block macros on Santa's network. Some sensitive data related to Santa server is found on a file sharing website. Okay, sensitive data from the file sharing site is removed to avoid Bandit Yeti taking advantage. Okay, spoofed phishing emails are sent to Santa's employee. Okay, so this is phishing protection is enabled. Password brute forcing attack is attempted on Santa's network or on Santa's account. So we're going to do a strong password policy, and Santa's employees find a USB flash drive. Malware is installed. Okay, so we did that. So this is the flag. Did I spell it wrong? THM. Okay, and that's why you shouldn't fat finger. Okay, while attack surface reduction helps, there's always the danger of a successful attack. Reducing attack surface to stop attacks, user installs a dubious software from the internet. Okay? So, if we want to study more about cyber defense, we could start with the threat and vulnerability management module. So that was cool. Okay, so we have officially found our adversary, which is Bandit Yeti. We see what he looked like. And now we're in the final stretch. We're 3 days away from Christmas, and we need to help McSkitty keep strengthening the network to keep Bandit Yeti out. We're 3 days away from Christmas, and these kids need to get their toys from Santa. So we have to help her. Okay, so I can't wait to see you in tomorrow's video. Have a good day. Bye.